So much for tuning back in. We are live here at the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center for GoLocal Prov. We are here with our second guest, Chef Jonathan Kirk. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you started off on a new venture recently, The Fat Pig, and I can't wait to hear all about it. But I'd really like to hear about yourself as well. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your background, your culinary experiences, and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so I grew up in Hudson Valley, New York. Got into a culinary vocational program while I was up there, and my guidance counselor was like, hey, you seem to have a knack for this. So after 2 years there, I got convinced to go to Johnson & Wales here in Providence, Rhode Island. I did about 2.5 years towards a bachelorette, but was not able to complete it due to financial reasons.
Understood.
So I decided the best way to continue my education was to work in restaurants and get that experience firsthand. So
absolutely, it's definitely getting yourself, really diving into it and having your hands working on everything. So
yeah, absolutely. And I found that kind of like jump-started my education and my knowledge of the industry and just techniques and all that stuff that I could have paid more money to learn in school.
Yeah, definitely. And what a great place to be learning in Providence with all, the great flourishing food scene that we have here.
Yeah, and I mean, the restaurants that we have here are amazing. Like, I went to a lot of restaurants in New York City, and I've eaten a lot of food in my life. And honestly, Providence has the most amazing restaurants of anywhere that I've traveled, at least on the Eastern Seaboard.
Definitely. Lots of variety here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, and the best seafood you can imagine.
I definitely agree with that. Yes. So talk to me about Fat Pig. What are we working with? What's going on? I'm so excited. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about it around the city, about the pop-ups that you're holding, and the food that you're making just being absolutely incredible. So I want to hear all about it, how you got started, and who you're working with.
Yeah, so I work with a local business owner named Kevin Matos.
Yes,
he owns a bakery in Pawtucket and another bakery in West Warwick, as well as a butcher shop in West Warwick, which is where we do most of our food prep out of.
Perfect.
So he decided that we were going to kind of team up and put our knowledge of the industry and our knowledge of cooking together, and that's kind of where the Fat Pig came from. He is Portuguese, full-blooded Portuguese. They love pork, as far as I know from the Portuguese food that he's fed me.
Yes.
Everything seems to be pork-based, and it is my favorite animal and one of my favorite products to cook with.
Definitely.
And so we just decided to go with the Fat Pig one day.
Now, where did the name come from?
So we were cooking a pig for a local party that we catered, and someone just happened to say, like, man, that's a real fat pig, and I just kind of like in my head that clicked, and I was like, you know what, I think that's it. And a few weeks later we were spitballing ideas, and I said the Fat Pig to him, and he was like, yeah, I like that.
That's it.
We went with it, and it just seems to be one of those names that sticks with people. And definitely people who are all about barbecue and smoked foods, like the Fat Pig, that just screams like.
Yeah, nobody wants a skinny pig.
Exactly.
If you're looking for barbecue, you want a nice fat pig.
Yeah, and we have amazing pork that is raised right here in Rhode Island with
local
Pat's Pastured and
yeah.
Blackbird Farms. We actually used Blackbird Farms at our last event at Fortnite Wine Bar. We did smoked pig's heads from them, and we did it as a taco platter, and it was honestly, like, we sold them out in 10 minutes. The first one went out,
What?
and the other two went out less than 10 minutes after that, as soon as they saw them.
Yeah, hot plate going.
Exactly. So
talk to me about the pop-ups that you're doing. You just had one at PTX and at Fortnite. People must have been really excited about all of the smoked meats that you were bringing in. What was on the menu? What was it looking like?
So for Fortnite, that was like our first real pop-up that we did. We did a smoked pig's head platter, as I just mentioned.
Yes. So what was on that? Like, for someone who's never really had a whole pig head, what should I expect sitting down? Like the whole, like, am I looking at? Is it looking at me?
Yeah,
what am I thinking?
You're looking at the whole pig, face, teeth, and all.
Oh my God.
One of our customers that night was lucky enough to get the tongue, so he got, which is one of my favorite cuts. If you cook it correctly and you break down all the connective tissue on it, it's becomes super tender and super moist and juicy. So we served that with some house-made tortillas that we made. We made some with just regular lard and masa, some with the leftover chorizo lard from the sausage making at Kevin's Butcher Shop. And then we did some with dehydrated beet powder for a little earthiness. So we kind of
Yeah.
got all the colors that you would expect from a Portuguese meal, kind of laid out in the colors of the tortilla. We did some salsas and a chimichurri with it, just to give a little bit of brightness on the side of all that fatty pig meat. And we even had one guest ask us for a pair of gloves so that he could rip up the meat with his hands because the tongs weren't cutting it, as he said.
Wow.
So
you're going in. You're like, if I'm having a pig head, like I'm ripping it open, I'm getting every last shred of meat. And I think that that's a big part of, when it comes to pork in the Portuguese culture, they want to use every piece of the animal possible. So they eat, it's definitely important. The ears, the snout, the hooves, all of that needs to be consumed, and it's cooked properly, as you know. You gotta love all of it.
Yeah, and he makes a very good job of doing that at his butcher shop too. I mean, he makes linguiça, chorizo. He makes morcilla, which is their blood sausage.
Yes.
And his parents, when they're always there when we're doing events, and they're always making sure that nothing goes to waste and everything is used and utilized in some way to extract flavor or get some sort of meat off of the bones.
Wow.
And it's really good. Like, I have a passion for that, and I am huge on local products and making sure that you get the most of what you purchase.
Absolutely. Have to be local here in Rhode Island. You've got to, highlight all of those farms and people that are working with.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and like I said, we have great producers here in Rhode Island. Some of the best that I've ever had.
Awesome. Now, what's your favorite piece of the pig's head? What would you go for first?
My favorite piece of the pig's head is definitely the tongue, like I said. But having already mentioned that, I would definitely say the pig's ear.
The ear.
When you cook it, you have to wrap it in foil to make sure that it doesn't burn.
Oh, okay.
Because you are cooking it for anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, depending on the size of the head.
It needs to get tender.
The fat content of it. So you wrap it with a foil. Then about 30 minutes before you're ready to serve it, you take that foil off, and you can do one of two things. You can take some hot oil and you can pour that over top of the head, and that kind of chicharrones all of the skin and makes it super crunchy.
Yes.
Or
yes.
you
get
can
that extra layer of texture to it, so it's juicy but nice and succulent, but also crispy on the outside.
Kind of like a porchetta.
Yeah.
And
God,
the other option that you
good.
can do is when we're limited for space and we can't make that mess with the oil, we can take a blowtorch to it, and that will not the same type of crisp, but you still get a little bit of crunch and some texture in there to go with all of that fatty, stringy pig's meat that's coming off of the head.
That sounds fantastic. I would never have really looked at a menu and saw pig's head and that be my go-to, but now next time I see it or next time I come to your event, I'm going to have to make sure I get one. Now, how many did you make?
So,
you sold out of pig's head. How many did you make?
We went conservative. We thought that, a pig's head is kind of a tough thing to serve in Providence, especially at a wine bar that traditionally they just serve, wine and cheese and bread and olive oil and charcuterie. So we didn't know what to expect, and we did 3 of them, and a couple of coworkers of mine came in and they ordered one, and then as soon as that went out, a few guys from a local brewery saw it, and they were like, we need that.
Whatever it is, I gotta have it.
Another local chef who came out to our event, he saw it and was like, oh, we're having that, and then they ordered one of everything else that was on that menu. So
wow. So now next time gotta bring more pig head to the table.
Yeah, and everyone that was walking in the bar for that next hour was just like, oh my God, what is this big platter of food everyone's eating?
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, dude, it's a pig's head platter. They're doing tacos, but we're sold out of them. And I heard, some people from outside of the kitchen talking about it. So we're definitely, I think, doing the right thing with it. And it's an interactive experience, and it's, the best part of the pig after the pork belly.
Of course. Now, what else were you serving on the menu? What else can we find when you're doing a pop-up?
So we do wings. Sometimes we'll do drumsticks, and we'll French them so that they look more like a lollipop.
Oh, cool.
We do a few different types of wings. Most recently, at PTX, we did cacio e pepe, which is like a traditional Italian pasta dish with just cheese and pepper.
Yes.
So we shaved some pecorino and some black pepper, and then we toss the wings in that with a little bit of the excess oil, and that kind of crisps up the cheese on the skin.
Yeah,
and
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, you get a little bit of the heat from the black pepper, but for someone that might not want buffalo wings and doesn't want that that really harsh, bitter burn, or maybe you have acid reflux or something that you don't want acting up, the cacio e pepe wings are a great option for people who want to go that more subtle route with their meal. And
Yeah.
We also did a Korean barbecue, which was a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, a little bit umami. So we do have a broad range when it comes to the wings and stuff like that.
Sounds great.
We also did chowder at PTX Lounge with
Good
some of
old-fashioned chowder.
yeah. We did it with some of Kevin's smoked chorizo that they do at the restaurant.
So good. It has to have that fatty addition to it.
Yeah.
You know, aside from the cream, but it
yeah,
helps
and
with flavor.
we actually don't use cream. We use a lot of clam juice and just a little
Nice.
milk. Not like too much.
None
So
is too heavy, and where you eat it, and you're like, that's it.
yeah, I mean, I myself, like, I'm one of those people that dairy can affect me a lot. So when I make a chowder, I like to do
Keep it light.
a little bit lighter, and I kind of took a little bit of influence from Rhode Island chowder, which is my first experience with it was when I came up here from New York, and I had eaten Manhattan clam chowder my whole life with tomatoes, and someone said, "Hey, man, you got to try Rhode Island chowder,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Nah, I'm not." I'm not into cream, and I tasted it, and it was a clear broth and filled with potatoes and chorizo and all the stuff that I loved, but none of the heaviness of the cream. So
yeah.
I fell in love with
Rhode Island
it.
chowder is like the sleeper cell. Like, people forget about it, or people from outside of Rhode Island come and they're like, "What is this?
Yeah.
Where's the cream? Where's the tomatoes?" And you're like, "No, just try it. We promise it's going to be really, really good." It's like a little taste of summer.
Mm-hmm. And it's even perfect for. I mean, even though Rhode Island identifies it as a summer food, I myself, I want that in the middle of winter. And
Absolutely.
even on Sunday night with the bad
Absolutely.
weather
All
we
year
had
round.
at PTX, we sold almost all of our chowder, which
Awesome.
was great. And I wasn't expecting to sell as much chowder as I did, but thanks to the cold weather.
It's in high demand.
Yeah.
Along with the pig's head.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So what did you bring me today? What are we looking at here?
Today we have our smoked turkey club.
Ooh.
We season the turkey with Ocean State Pepper Company
Nice.
clucking spice.
Clucking spice.
It's a blend of lavender, sumac, sesame seeds, oregano, and a few other dry herbs in there.
That is so interesting. Lavender.
Yeah. And,
Wow, I've never heard that, adding lavender to the spices for something like that. That's really interesting.
So what we like about it is that when you smoke poultry, a lot of the time you don't get that nice red smoke ring or pink smoke ring that you would traditionally find with a brisket or on your pulled pork or on your ribs. So we found that using the lavender and the sumac kind of gave a little bit of that pink color around the outside of the turkey, so that when we sliced it, it did develop a nice looking smoke ring that looked good for presentation. We also have some of our smoked bacon that we make in-house.
And this is good. Like, this is not just like crispy, wimpy bacon. This is like good, thick cut, like seasoned, really, really awesome.
A little bit of
looking
crisp,
bacon.
but still a little soft in the middle.
Definitely.
There's like nothing worse to me than a super hard, crunchy piece of bacon.
Just like flakes, falls apart. And
yeah.
Like, oh gosh.
It's a little bit pitiful in my opinion,
Yeah.
but I love just having a little bit of chew on it. The best part of the bacon and the best part of the pork belly is those fatty bits in between the strings of meat. So we definitely take advantage of that by slicing it thick. We use some Boston butter lettuce, some fresh tomatoes, and some red onions, both from, the tomatoes are from Confreda Farms, and the onions we got from Shartner Farms at the farmer's market on Saturday.
And what about the bread?
So the bread
looks good.
The bread is traditional seeded Jewish rye from
Yum.
Rainbow Bakery in Cranston on Reservoir Ave.
Fantastic.
I am coming from New York, I'm a huge fan of deli food, and pastrami on rye was like my go-to lunch sandwich every single day.
course.
So when I found a bakery that made an amazing New York-style Jewish rye, I absolutely fell in love. Even though the bread can be pricey at times, it's
well
just
worth it.
it's the best product that I've worked with, and we absolutely love it for all of our sandwiches, whether it's pulled pork or turkey. Even chicken sandwiches can be great on the rye, just with the dense quality of it and the good chew.
Right. Well, you have all of these fantastic products, like locally made, house smoked, really, really great textures, flavors, and then you want to make sure that whatever you're putting in between is going to also contribute to the overall taste of it. So absolutely have to go all out with the bread.
Absolutely, and that's why even when we make tacos, we make all of our tortillas from scratch.
Wow.
Just to make sure that we have control of just about everything that we are putting out, and so that the customers feel a better relationship with us, and they understand that everything that they're eating, we worked with our hands personally between the two of us.
It's got your own touch on it.
Exactly.
Of course. So talk to me about your next pop-up. When is it? Where is it? Are you going to have more pig's heads?
So our next pop-up is currently, our next scheduled one is at Buttonwood's Brewery.
Cool.
Those guys crushed a pig's head at Fortnite, and they have
gotta have you in.
Yes, they like special ordered it on Sunday night at PTX when they came in again, and they were like, "We need pig's head, we need brisket." So it's looking like that's what's going to be on our menu.
Cool.
That's going to be March 23rd from 2 to 7 on Saturday afternoon at the brewery.
Awesome.
In Cranston, Rhode Island, I believe it is. And then, as of right now, I think we're going to be doing a Portuguese wine dinner with Fortnite on March 3rd. That is going to
definitely want to go to that.
that is tentative at the moment. There'll be more info about it on our Instagram when we confirm it. We think that there's going to be a winemaker there from Oregon who specializes in Portuguese-style wines. And Kevin, my business partner, he's going to be doing some traditional Portuguese dishes paired with those wines.
Wow.
And I believe that'll be a ticketed event as well. So there'll be more info about that soon. And then we are planning what we hope to be a big block party on the West End.
Yes.
We just confirmed our location with the Armory Animal Hospital. We're going to rent out that parking lot for the day.
Nice.
And we're going to do a barbecue, and we're hoping to get a local adoption agency involved and
that
have
would
some.
Be so fantastic. What's better than that? And go and adopt a puppy or a kitten. Eat some barbecue, have a party. Sounds like my kind of day.
So what we're hoping to do is get some dogs and cats there that are looking for new homes, and attract people out there that are looking to take those pets home. And PIRL, if you adopt an animal from their shelter, you get your first exam free at the Armory Animal Hospital.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
That's
it kind of goes
goes
hand in hand, and they've been absolutely wonderful with me and my girlfriend's 4 cats, who we have 2 that have been having health complications. So Armory Animal Hospital's been great with them, and
that's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, and just doing all that, going through all this with our cats, and seeing how important pets can be in people's lives. We just want to try and bring that happiness to someone else.
Absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun. Cats, dogs, barbecue, a lot of fun times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So we're looking to do that sometime in May. We haven't ironed out the actual date yet. It'll most likely be either Saturday evening or a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And
we're hoping when the weather starts to get a little bit nicer than it is right now.
We're looking to hopefully get some beer sponsors or wine sponsors, maybe do some barbecue and wine and everything, have like a little block party where people can bring their dogs and hang out for the day, and just kind of, similar to like the Gansett Neighbor Days, stuff like that.
Always a good time.
Where, just the whole community comes out and supports and, shows how awesome Providence really is.
Yeah, because Providence is a pretty cool place.
Yeah. I mean, where else in the country are you going to find a city that shuts down just to have a concert in the middle of downtown? And
that's true. Yeah, we've got PVD Fest coming up. I swear I'm like counting down the days for it already. Well, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us this delicious looking sandwich. I can't wait to take a bite and really try that good bacon. All right. So can we share where we can find you on Instagram so we can stay up to date with your pop-ups, and that way when you're planning the barbecue and puppies event, we can make sure we can check it out.
So you can find us on Facebook at The Fat Pig PVD. Our Instagram handle is also The Fat Pig PVD. We don't have Twitter at the moment. We don't have a website. But for the most part, if you want to find us, just find us on either Facebook or Instagram.
Always going to be posting, updating what you're doing.
We post pretty frequently. When we're doing R&D, I'll usually post some things to the story if we're super excited about something or we want to kind of hype it up. So that's where you can find us.
Awesome.
And like I said, you can find us at Buttonwoods on March 23rd.
Okay. So follow the Fat Pig PVD on Instagram, on Facebook. Make sure you check them out. Think about getting that huge pig head and sharing it with your friends, and what a fun experience that would be. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with our third guest.